The daily trainer. If you've ever trained for a marathon, for a race, or anything surrounding running, you understand just how important it is to have a good daily trainer. And you can't really skimp out because this is what you're going to spend most of your time on training in. But yet, we always tend to overlook even the most simplest of daily trainers. Here I have the Nike Vomero 18, and I think I found one of the cheapest and most well-rounded daily trainers on the market right now. Let's talk about them. So the Nike Vomero 18. Caveat, for the longest time, I always thought that Nike wasn't at the top of any sort of sport, specifically because I come from basketball. I played basketball for most of my life, and for the longest time, Nike was just always kind of there. They weren't at the forefront of cutting edge technology. They were obviously top of the line. Like they were the biggest market shareholder around. They were the ones who just completely led in sales, in popularity, athlete sponsorships. They were always at top of mind of the sport, but they always had this kind of like infamy when it came to the quality, when it came to the new tech, when it came to design of basketball shoes. When I transitioned over to running, I carried over that sort of bias and prejudice towards Nike shoes, but Nike is at top of the running game. They may not be at the top of elite running, but they definitely are at the top of daily, casual, everyday running. That's me. I'm a pretty mediocre runner. My marathon time is 4:29, 4:27. So not the fastest, but I was in the market for a daily runner, and Nike is currently running a pretty good deal on what is essentially their best daily trainer right now, the Nike Vomero 18. This shoe has been the talk of the town for almost a year now. I believe they released this shoe in May of 2025, so almost a year ago, and it caught people by surprise. Everybody sang its praises. They say that it has a price cut from the Vomero 17s, and they've added so many new things to this shoe that just made it a market favorite for a lot of people. Now, first, I want to go over every single element of the shoe. Now, the upper is probably one of my favorite things about this shoe. Nike has never skimped out when it comes to comfort or premium quality when it comes to the uppers, especially in the Vomero line. This is a fully fabric upper. Can't really talk to the long-term durability of the actual upper. It's not that good, to be honest. A scrape here and there is definitely going to tear on the fabric, but it definitely helps with comfort. Breathability is top of the line. This is, fully covered in air vents. So this is by no means a hot shoe. This is a shoe that's going to let ventilation go through, but it's still a very thick fabric, enough to wick sweat, to make sure that you get that extra layer of comfort when it comes to the upper. But besides that, there's not a lot to write home about the upper. It's pretty bare bones. There's not a lot of elements that aid in the form of the shoe or even the stability of the shoe, mainly because it's all fabric, but it's not really necessary given that the rest of the shoe is pretty stable given its extremely max stack height. It's a very, very tall shoe, but we'll get to that later in the review. I got this sort of camo, swamp. I don't even know what to call it. I'm not a hunter, but it gives me hunter vibes. And I just like the style of this. It's an extremely comfortable shoe and it's extremely stylish. So you can definitely rock these casually, daily. Now we got the inside of the shoe, which is fully padded. It is a very comfortable shoe, as I've already said. It's pretty nimble, it's pretty flexible. One of my favorite elements of the shoe is the extremely padded tongue. It is a half gusseted tongue, so it's not going to move around as much. It's comfortable, it's pretty thick, so it kind of defeats the purpose of the breathability of the whole shoe, the rest of the shoe. but still, I think that that thickness adds to the comfort on the top of the shoe, at least on the tongue area. The laces, pretty comfortable. One of my biggest concerns with shoes, for example, like the Adizero Evo SL, is that the laces absolutely suck. I know that's a rather more lightweight shoe, and it's more meant for tempo runs. So things like that, elements like that, don't necessarily matter in the long term because tempo runs tend to be shorter. This type of shoe is meant for long runs, recovery runs, daily training, long mileage. So things that are going to be rubbing a lot, or they're going to be in the way, or whatever that may be, of course they can't skimp out on those type of things. And I'm glad that the laces are this sort of thick material, fabric material, that really secures down your foot to the shoe. Besides that, the upper is pretty straightforward. Not much to write home about. I was actually surprised just how stylish and how, I want to say, easy it is to wear this type of shoe as a daily wear type of thing. It's a casual shoe. If you wanted to, I wouldn't use these shoes casually because, again, I've said it's a completely max stack height shoe. And in the long run, that might be a little bit awkward to walk in. But running definitely hits the spot for that. In the midsole, we have a max stack height foam, which is apparently one of the first max stack heights, if I'm not mistaken, from a daily trainer like the Vomero, in the Vomero line. It does have Zoom X here in the I want to say upper section of the midsole. In the bottom is all React X. So you got that mix of foam technology. You're getting that Zoom X technology in the upper part of the midsole, and then the actual portion of the shoe that's touching the ground and giving you that reactivity is all foam React X. I think it makes for an incredibly comfortable yet reactive run. I was really worried about running in a max stack height foam shoe, because, as I said, I've been dealing with runner's knee with IT band syndrome, and it's been exacerbated by shoes like the Mizuno Neo Zen, which sucks because I really do like that shoe. It's a very stylish shoe. I liked it for what it is. I liked it. It's a really comfortable ride, but I was using it for daily training. I was using it for kind of fast runs. That really made my pain that much worse. So I've been a little bit wary about daily trainers that are max stack high, that are extremely foam heavy, and I've been kind of like working my way more into foams like the Adizero Evo SLs, which are more faster shoes for daily training, and they've helped a lot with me not depending on the lack of stability and overworking my knees, overworking my legs. So I've been kind of favoring those type of shoes over max stack height shoes. But the React X in this makes for a very reactive foam and a very comfortable ride for long miles. Definitely recommend this shoe. I ran 2-3 days ago. I was out in California and I ran from El Segundo all the way to Venice Beach, which, if you're from there, that's a pretty long run. That's 10 miles. And at the end of that run, it felt like I ran 2 miles. I was not tired. My knee wasn't aching. My legs weren't exhausted, and I could just continue walking with no issues whatsoever. If I had to run that with a more foamier or more plush foam shoe like the Mizuno Neo Zen, or even if I had to run in a more firm foam like the Adizero Evo SL, I probably would have been either hurt on the Mizuno Neo Zen or just been really dealing with that knee pain. Or if I was in the Adizero, I'd probably be tired as hell because of the lack of that plush ride. So this is a very comfortable medium. I kind of want to call it like the average of reactivity and comfort, but it just doesn't feel like it compromises. It just feels like it gives you the best of both worlds overall. And I think it definitely has to do, obviously, with the foam and the foam combination in this specific shoe. But yeah, I absolutely loved my runs in this shoe. I actually ran this morning in it, and it was made for a very comfortable ride. The outsole, not a lot to write home about. It really has this rugged pattern all over it, which unfortunately makes the grip not that good. The rubber in the bottom is kind of plasticky. It makes for wet cement, wet pavement, a little bit awkward to run in. I did kind of slip this morning because we had a crazy storm yesterday here in Dallas, and we actually had a tornado warning. And there were lots of portions of the trail that were still wet, and I kind of slipped a little bit. But again, I feel like grip in, running in that sort of environment, and just expecting any type of running shoe to really grip and make it easy for you to run through that is just going to be an impossible task to accomplish. This is a max stack height shoe. If I'm not mistaken, this shoe has a massive 42.5 millimeters in the heel compared to 33.9 millimeters in the Vomero 17. That is almost 10 millimeters more stack in the heel than the previous version of this shoe. It's such a dramatic high stack shoe, which I believe this kind of disqualifies you if you're an elite runner from running certain marathons, because I believe the max is 40 millimeters. Don't quote me on that. So it is a rather high shoe. It really puts you up above the ground. If you're looking for that more of the flat ground feel, you're definitely not going to get in the Vomero 18s, but it does make for a rather comfortable shoe. The heel drop is pretty dramatic as well. The heel drop is 13.9 millimeters from the heel to the forefoot. So this shoe is going to push you forward. It's going to propel you forward. The rocker really helps, if you're a heavier runner, if you are a heel striker, if you're that type of person who kind of has a lot of issues with Achilles because of the way you land. This type of shoe is definitely going to be for you because it allows you to push forward a lot easier, a lot more naturally, which makes for a more comfortable ride. But I will say you kind of lose out on some of that stability with that much stack height, but it's not as noticeable, it's not as uncomfortable, and it's not as hard to find yourself be stable enough. I did say that the traction isn't the best, but I did test out in some real quick 180 turns and sprint backs and forth in this shoe, and I did not lose any type of grip. Now that's more necessary. I don't want to say necessarily because of the outsole, but it has to do more with the design of the midsole over here in the forefoot. It kind of extends a little bit to the side, a little bit wider, so it makes it so you don't really lose traction. It's also a rather rigid shoe, not a lot of torsion in it, but still flexible enough to really make for a smooth ride. As I said, this is kind of like a all roads meet in the center type of shoe. The only type of run I would not recommend this type of shoe is for tempo runs, fast runs, sprints, because it is still a rather hefty shoe. It is rather heavy. It's a little bit bulky. So yeah, if you're looking for that fast type of shoe, this isn't for you. Overall, this has become my daily trainer. My daily trainer was the Mizuno Neo Zen. I had to put those away just for recovery runs. And then I started running on the Adizero Evo SLs. I kind of want to focus. I kind of want to keep those for race day, even though obviously they're a daily trainer as well. And for tempo runs, they kind of tire me. They are meant for speed. And whenever I'm just trying to hit those base runs, those 140 BPM type of runs, I need to slow down a little bit. And the Adizero Evo SL is kind of hard to slow down in because of how fast they are, how reactive that foam is. These kind of slow me down a little bit, but in a good way, in a good sense. So yeah, Vomero 18s I think is a great value for what they are. I believe they're selling around $110 currently in the Nike store, on the Nike online shop. So definitely check them out. And I think this is the all type of run shoe if you're just doing daily training. If you just want to add mileage to your daily training, these are the type of shoes. But if you're looking for fast shoes, these ain't it because they're so heavy. But folks, you let me know down in the comments below what you think of the Nike Vomero 18s. It's almost a year since they were released. Do you think that Nike should keep this stack height, this really dramatic heel drop, stick to this combination of foams, or should they change something for the Nike Vomero 19s, which I'm imagining they're already getting ready to push out here in the next few months. But let me know now. Let me know down in the comments below, and also let me know what shoes you want me to check out. Just as a refresher, if you're new to this channel, if you're new to these reviews, these are mainly reviews on shoes that are currently being discounted, performance shoes for running specifically. So I really want to focus on more of that type of shoes and kind of give you a quick review and you know, make you see if whether if these discounted shoes are still worth it sometimes a year later since their release. You know, I know there's a lot of people right now trying not to spend money who are, you know, really trying to tightening up budgets, but they still want to train. They still want to get their mileage in. They still want to, you know, stay ahead of the curve and still kind of check out new technology, new type of shoes. But you don't have that, you know, $200 to spend on a shoe. Maybe you have $100 here and there. Maybe you have $75. Maybe you have a little bit of money saved up. That type of shoes is the ones that I'm going to be focusing on going on forward for these performance reviews on this specific channel. But let me know down in the comments below what you think. Folks, I've been True Fernie. This has been True Fernie. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs down, because believe it or not, every single bit helps. Links to my socials are down below. Please make sure to follow me on Blue Sky, where I spend most of my waking hours talking about anything and everything that might interest you as my viewer. But folks, please take care of one another, but most importantly, take care of yourself and your uppers, because these are, yeah, I can already tell. I hit a branch on the trail today, and I was like, if I was going a little bit faster, I would have probably ruined my shoe. So watch out for those trails. Peace.